G'day, community, and welcome to the Jock Riddled Supercoach podcast. I'm Lekdog, and I'm joined in person by the one, the only, Patch.
It is a pleasure to be gazing into your eyes, not through several computer screens for once. It's a pleasure.
It is.
Pleasure. It's very exciting.
The audio probably sounds a bit janky because we kind of just hacked this together, one mic, and we're sitting very closely to each other in a room.
Snuggled.
Nowhere to look away.
Snuggled, some may say.
My quota for eye contact has been met already. Patch, we had a very exciting day.
We did. We got to go to the official launch of Supercoach on the Supercoach, which is what they're calling their big fancy bus that we got to hang out on and with while they launched Supercoach, which was very exciting, very fun.
It was. We were lucky enough to be joined by, I think there was a bunch of competition winners. There was the top-ranked female from 2020.
Yeah, her name was Liz. She was great.
She came 70th in 2020. She was 72 and only picked up Supercoach to have something to talk to her like grandkids with, right?
Yeah, no. Love that. So Em Challis, the winner from last year, was there. Some of the Dr. Supercoach boys were there.
Marcus from Supercoach Coach was there. There was quite a few people there.
Yeah, it was nice. Paton was there, and of course, some of the bigger names in not just Supercoach but football generally.
Right, you are talking yourself up very much right now, Patch.
I mean, look, I did come down just for the occasion, and I know you're all a bit blessed and starstruck chatting to me, but not as starstruck as I was or we were chatting to Lord Heath Shaw himself. We spoke to Clayton Oliver. We spoke to Mason Cox, both craning our necks up very painfully to chat to the big fella.
Yeah, well, let's tell them what we did before we go to some of the little interviews we did. And once again, the audio might be a bit janky on those.
The audio will be very janky because I recorded it and we were on site. So there'll be plenty of background noise, but you should be able to make out. We haven't listened to it yet, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Until we get to the edit, and it's a nightmare. Yeah, so this morning, Patch, we woke up bright and early.
6 a.m. we left.
That was too early, although we had a great sleep. Obviously, cuddled all night long. Headed into SEN Studios, where we were greeted by coffees and a giant Supercoach bus, the Supercoach.
The Supercoach, as they were calling it.
Danny McGinlay, who people will know from doing the banners and stuff. He used to do the banners for Western Bulldogs, the meme banners.
Oh, that would have been him, yes.
And then was on game day and stuff like that. So Danny McGinlay was the host of the event, which was lovely. And
it was great.
Essentially, we sat on a bus and drove around to different parts of Melbourne and picked up various football players, which was super, super fun.
Yeah, it was snazzy. We got to listen to David Neitz talk about what he'd been doing, and listen to Heath Shaw and Izzy Huntington from the Bulldogs was there.
Campbell Brown, Andrew Gaze, my favourite Andy Marr, who wouldn't stop talking, which I loved because he was talking about Carlton, which was great.
But I could listen to Andy Marr talk about Carlton for a long time. Like, I don't like listening to most people talk about Carlton. There's you and Andy Marr, and they're the only two people I'll listen to about Carlton for long periods of time.
Well,
and he could have gone for another hour, and I'd have been perfectly happy to sit there listening to him.
I think he would have been perfectly happy going on for an hour. And we got a photo with the cup, the Premiership Cup,
the glowing green behemoth that is apparently worth $10,000.
I was talking about the Premiership Cup for AFL, but no, you're talking about a far more important cup, which is
prize, the one that I can maybe one day achieve.
The Supercoach Grail. So that was the whole point of this, the Trail to the Grail. It's an additional prize if you win Supercoach this year. You get a big, giant, green, Holy Grail-esque goblet.
Goblet is a good word for it. Bejeweled and studded with all sorts of crazy things. We did also see the AFL Premiership Cup for 2022, but
had a wander around the G. It was very lovely, but honestly, the Grail, the Supercoach Grail, is what everyone was there for.
Yeah.
And then we saw Tom Lee. Who was John Ralph was on the
bus. Tom Morris was on the bus, which was interesting. Ralphie was saying that Gibcus is pretty much locked into playing most of the year for Richmond, which defensive rookie alert.
Yeah.
Love that. Downside is his 170 km will average 45. But
he is alive.
He's alive. He's likely to be playing, and that's exciting. You love to see it. Tom Morris said he didn't have anything for us, But it was a good time, good chat.
I would have liked something.
But he'd come off, I think he'd been covering something that wasn't football for a few days.
Cricket, I think, probably.
He'd probably been doing cricket. I can't remember what he was talking about. We were distracted by all the other people that were there. It was good. It was really good.
Yeah, and then we arrived at the G, got a little bit of a tour, went onto the grass, had a look. Channel 7 were doing their launch there, so we were quickly ushered away to the to outside, where we did get to actually see the Shane Warne's
We did, yeah. The amount
statue?
of VBs and crownies on top of the pedestal was quite touching almost.
It was.
It's what the great man would have wanted, as well as the heaps of flowers at the bottom.
Well, when I go, you can just put a bunch of sleeved Guernseys on my... Well, I don't have a statue, and I don't think I will. I'd like a statue.
You've earned a statue. A statue in my front yard, maybe. But
yeah, we don't have to specify where it is. So we walked past that, and then they had the launch, which was hosted by Kevin Sheedy and Heath Shaw, and it was a bit of a handover of the Grail, I guess, from Sheedy, who was the first face of Supercoach many years ago. I remember reading those little tiny magazines that used to buy with the paper. It cost like an extra $1, and you'd get this little handy handbook. He handed things over to Heath Shaw, and then Mike Robinson sort of ran it as well. So
yeah, Lauren Wood was there as well. Very sweaty in the sun there.
It was very hot.
In the big official Jock Reynolds hoodie, the JREL hoodie, as it were, kept me warm in orange winters, which were negative degrees, and 22 degrees in the sun. I was a bit sweaty. Sweaty. It
was a hot day, but it was a lot of fun. We got to hang out with Al, who is a good friend of the pod and good friend of all of us in Supercoach.
Indeed. We had a chat to him on mic as well.
We did.
We did. So we can we'll play that for you. Speaking just a little bit about what he's looking forward to this year and who he's looking out for with the positional changes as well. So this is us having a chat to Al Paton from Super Footy. So, Al, looking to a very exciting year, 2022 Supercoach, or KFC Supercoach.
Thank you.
Talk us through what you're most excited for with the swath of changes that have come in.
Well, you've seen, I think I saw you, gents, actually this morning, got your hands on the magnificent Holy Grail trophy up for the first time ever in KFC Supercoach, and it's a pretty impressive specimen when you get a close look at it.
It's big and green and covered in jewels, and my God, I want it. I want it on my mantelpiece.
It would be a talking point, we'll say. So, I'm very excited about that, but I like the trade boosts are going to be really exciting. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to use them, but we'll figure that out as we go. And the DPP changes is one that I think has probably been in the, something that has made sense for a while. So it'll be a good talking point come, round 6, round 12, thinking about who might get DPP and what that does for our teams.
Have you got your eye on anyone with that DPP just yet?
No, not really. I mean, Pendlebury's one that, we think will probably get it and, could be a good pick in defence.
Mitch McGovern.
Well, I might be picking him anyway, the way my forward line's looking. So, yeah, it's a lot up in the air with, 8 or 9 days to go.
Yeah. And are you able to, if I slip you a 50, can you code some rookies in for us, please, God?
Just trying to add a few, I would like that. But, yeah, it's thin on the ground. I don't remember a season where my team's been this up in the air, this close to round 1, because it's really hard to even get your structure right without knowing which rookies are going to play. So I might have to pick a couple of different versions of the team and then, really just roll with it in round 1 as the teams are named. If the Bulldogs and Melbourne teams come out and Arthur Jones is picked, then all of a sudden, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. But, yeah, it's really tricky this year.
This morning, Tom Morris said to us that Gibcus is going to play pretty much every match. I mean, is a 170k key defender someone we should be looking at? Because we might have to.
Well, I mean, the obvious answer is no, but, maybe. Probably not if you want to score any points or make any money, but, I've got Paddy McCartan on my field at the moment in defence. Someone like Mitch Hinge has gone down with injury nearly every time he's stepped on an AFL field, so you probably want someone on the bench who is actually playing, because if one of those guys goes down and then you're looking at Charlie Dean or or Nathan O'Driscoll, and that's probably my bench players at the moment in defence, and neither of them might even be getting a game. So just for insurance, Gibcus might be one we have to look at.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Joel. We're being ushered onto the bus, but we'll let you go. The Supercoach, and we'll catch you during the year. Best of luck.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Thanks, guys.
There we go. That was Al Paton, Supercoach extraordinaire. Lovely human as well.
Lovely human.
Just a good egg.
I'm also stuck on trade searches or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm going to do with them.
Yeah, I know I'll use one after round 3. Like, that's locked in of, like, you get the extra trade to help fix your team, and maybe the week after. But I think, by and large, I'll be saving them until, like, I feel like the moment will come where we're like, no, I need this now.
Yeah.
If that's a COVID delay, or if it's the bye weeks, or whatever it is, I feel like, save them until you know you need them. And then if you get to the stage where it's like, oh, I didn't actually, I've got 4 of them left and there's 6 weeks left in the season, then I'll start using them, but I don't think we'll get to that point. Don't use one in round 2 to get a 0 on field for a bench rookie. Lekdog, no.
You know that's going to happen, right? You know everyone's going to waste them.
I know, and that's why I'm saying, you'll know when the time is, and that should be a Wednesday. That should not be a Saturday being, oh shit, somebody scored 100 on the bench and I need to get them on field. No, that's not what we're doing. Not what we're about. But yeah, they'll be really interesting, and I feel like we'll have a discussion about them kind of as we lead into the season. But I think, you can lock in being able to have 3 trades after that second week. Yeah. Which is really exciting.
No, it'll be good, and there's DPP changes, obviously, that's the big one. So Al spoke about that, and maybe a guy like Scott Pendlebury comes into our team at some stage.
Mitch McGovern,
well, he's a lock anyway, apparently. I mean, I'm in, I've locked him in, and I don't feel great about it. The next thing I wanted to touch on is we had a chat to the man, Heath Shaw himself, the face of Supercoach.
We did.
And Patch, you asked him one of the hardest hitting questions I think that has ever come across his table. So listen along for that, because he gives some great insight into his time playing and sort of lets us know what to look out for if we're looking for the next Heath Shaw, the next person who's going to get us some cheap little seagull kicks around the ground.
Yeah, the next double ton off a halfback flank against the Western Bulldogs while playing for the Giants. Anyway, listen to what Heater had to say here. How are you feeling about the year?
Supercoach year? Well, I don't know. Like last year, I set the bar very low. Yeah. I think I was like 150,000 or something like that. So room for improvement, and I think there's no doubt that I'll improve on that because I'm putting a bit more effort in.
Hey mate, I'm going to go.
In terms of yourself, obviously, wonderfully decorated career. What's the highlight for you? Was it the premiership, or was it scoring 200 against Western Bulldogs in 2016 in a Supercoach game? What?
Neck and neck.
Neck and neck.
Premiership. Like, I got a kick. I wasn't that good in that grand final, but I got a few kicks. But like when you knock up the 200, it's a pretty good effort. And I don't know. I think it was a record amount of kicks, 100% efficiency. Not that I know all the stats of it, but it was a pretty good day out.
You know all the stats.
Yeah, it was a pretty good day out. I think I did tweet afterwards that I need a new right boot because that one was worn out because I had so many kicks that day. But there's some big games and Supercoach. At the start, when I first started playing, I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it. After a couple of years, we got into it hardcore at Collingwood, and definitely became a part of the week to week.
Yeah, is it something that the boys would like jeer themselves up about it? At halftime, kind of saying, "Oh, you're on track for a big one." Would it be sort of something you'd actively discuss, or just kind of in the background a little bit?
Well, the funny thing is, the stats are on the scoreboard, so you know how many stats you've had. So you know if someone needs to lift, if you're in the top sort of 8, and then. Also, Swanee used to check his Supercoach stats at halftime as well. There's no doubt about it. When you're allowed to have phones in your locker rooms, you're not allowed anymore.
Back in the good old days.
So back in the good old days, he used to check him, see how he was going, and see how his team was going as well. So
and just
definitely part of it.
Is there any way that we can identify players who will be boosting their own stats? Because there's stat padders out there. How do we find them?
If you watch any of the pre-season games, it's the old. There's 2 of the old Heath Shaw tricks. You kick out from full back, obviously step outside the square, and there's a stat for you. Oh, Zach Cummings taking that mantle off me, and he's doing it very, very well at the moment. And then the old wrap around the back, get the handball. The midfielder or the halfback who can pick where the tall is, most likely the ruckman, and get around the back for a handball. They're the guys you need to look, because they're definitely looking to boost stats, and they know where to find it as well. That's the smartest way to go about it.
Yeah, because you mentioned Isaac Cumming. Has there been anyone else that stood out as a top quality stat patter or someone that's got the hunt for the pill?
Mate, to be honest, most halfback flankers who kick out from fullback are the ones who are going to boost your stats, and they're there like the guys that are running and trying to beat their teammates to pick up the ball from behind the goals and kick out. They're the ones you want in your team, because they've got in the back of their mind, they're like there's some stats and there's some points.
Yeah, beautiful. Anything else?
I reckon if you get some Gold Coast defenders in your team, it'd be good, because the ball will be down there a lot.
Ripper, thanks Peter. Appreciate it, mate. There we go. That was Lord Heath Shaw himself having a chat to us outside the hallowed MCG. But there was one question two questions we didn't ask him. The first one was what he felt about the Heath Shaw rule, which was introduced in Supercoach after his indiscretion behind the wheel of... I don't know if he was behind the wheel or Alan Dardak was behind the wheel. Anyway, suspended for about 8 weeks after everyone had traded him in and you couldn't reverse trades. That was... after that, they instigated the reverse trade button. We didn't ask him about that because it was a little bit of a interesting time in his career. But also, like, you had something you wanted to ask him, but weren't quite game enough to his face. What was it?
Look, I've asked the team at Supercoach to bring this up with him a few times. It hasn't come up yet, and I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to ruin a great day. But yeah, I just want to know why he blocked me on Twitter. I just want to know. I've gone through the history, and if you could all go through my history and find maybe what I've said to Heath Shaw, I'm pretty sure it's all positive. But I didn't want to... I didn't want to, take away from the moment that was the Supercoach launch, and B, I'd hate for him to feel bad about blocking me and knowing that he's missed out on so much great insight and content over the years.
Incredible content. But also, I have no doubt you probably deserved it.
Oh, definitely.
The amount of times I've been this close to blocking you myself has been in the hundreds.
I've actually had people in real life come up to me and go, "Hey, I think you need to take it easy on Essendon." I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'll tone it down."
They're not wrong. They're not wrong. But that was a chat to Heath Shaw. Pleasure to have a chat to as well. He was
he was lovely.
Good sport. Despite sweating it just as much as I was in the green Supercoach tracksuit, he was struggling for a bit there as well.
Now, a man who was also struggling a little in the heat, and you could tell, Big Mason Cox. Who we sort of grabbed, and he had no idea who we were or what we were doing, but he seemed nice enough to talk to us.
He was willing to sit there for 2 minutes and have a chat about Collingwood, because obviously there's a lot of relevance there, and despite the fact that he didn't really put too much stock in Supercoach or really know that much about it, he was still keen enough to have a chat, especially about some of the younger players and looking at their backline as well. So listen to the gorgeous drawl of the Texan. How are you feeling going into this year? Because obviously you've got the new shades, which have been talked about a lot, but is it actually helping you with your footy?
Yeah, it's a different look, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a fresh look for the club in general. We've got a lot of new people, new coaches, new game plan, everything else, and I think we'll be taking contests down the line and trying to get more forward footy than probably the last year. But I think it will kind of work forward our forwards and be able to get the ball into side 50 more often and have chances to be able to have shots on goal.
Yeah, a lot of young kids doing a lot of really cool stuff down there. Who's caught your eye over the off season?
Obviously, everyone's going to talk about Nick Dacos. He's an absolute gun, but I'll give a shout out to a guy that not so many people, I guess, probably have talked about. Is Charlie Dean, who unfortunately has hurt his foot recently in the preseason game or practice match game, I guess, against Hawthorn. He's been really impressive. He's done a lot of stuff with myself and a lot of the other bigs and stuff, and being able to play that position as a key back. And he's learned a lot. He's very, very much a person that asks questions and wants to learn, wants to get better. And it's impressive whenever a guy that's that young wants to, has that drive to want to do better. And he's definitely been someone who's definitely caught my eye over the preseason.
Yeah, you got Reef McInnes and Finn McRae as well that haven't played a lot of footy just yet. How are they looking?
They're looking good. Reef's going really well. Finn's going really well. Finn played yesterday for probably his first kind of proper AFL level experience, I want to say. I'm not really 100% sure if he's played an AFL game. You'll have to fact check that. But no, Reef's going really well too. He's put a bit of size on both of them, and I think whenever you're first, second year player, a lot of that's just getting bigger and getting into your body into AFL shape, and being able to get your your bench and your squats and everything else up to be able to build your body to be AFL standard. And Reef's done that. He's put in the extra work. He's going really well, and I think the biggest thing is these guys are going to get opportunities during the year, and it's just making most of it whenever it comes around.
One last one from me. Scott Pendlebury, he looks like he's been playing more of a defensive role this year or behind the ball. What sort of leadership is he bringing back there, and do you want to just speak to how that affects the rest of the team?
Yeah, Scott's, obviously he's probably one of the, I don't want to say the greatest, because I know that's always going to be a bit of a comment, but one of the greatest that's ever played for the club, and he is the leader of. He's been the captain for I don't know how many years, and he's that's what he's kind of known for, is his innate ability to be able to bring drag people along with him, and hold himself to a high standard. So yeah, I think from the back line, obviously I guess defense wins championships, so it's probably a little bit less running for him too, so he's probably happy about that. But he's just becoming a leader there that has the ability to be able to kind of come from the back end side of the field and be able to move it forward. I think someone who's got the skills like he does and has the ability to see the game the way he does, it's really good for us to be able to set up defensively, and it's very important for us as a team.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate. Really appreciate that.
Well, Patch, that was lovely to have Mason Cox join us for a few minutes. He was actually he gave us less straight bat answers than he gave the media, which was nice.
Yeah, it was really nice, and nice to hear him talk about some of those younger players as well, who we've heard a little bit about, but nice to hear it from somebody who's on the ground and seeing them, and not in that kind of leadership position where they're Pendlebury's trying to pump them up and manage the message, and Coxie was just saying no, they're just good.
Yeah, I don't know if McInnes plays round one, but that's another 123k mid that we can look at later in the year. Charlie Dean, when he's back, sounds like they really like him down there. He'll be a mid-season target for us, but it sounds like there's some options for us. And hey, Big Mason Cox, he's got the glasses on now, the sunnies, so he can see, which is helpful when you're playing football.
It is, yes, it is. And I think I was the fifth or sixth person to ask him about the sunglasses on the day, so we didn't go into it too much as I wanted to talk about it, but the fact that he can actually see the ball might probably make him a better footballer.
Well, I was really interested. Apparently, he's had so many surgeries in his eyes that one of the retinas doesn't open or close. It just stays the same.
Okay.
So that's why he's wearing the glasses. There's all different lenses and he's got like 13 pairs of these things. Yeah. So that's interesting. I just found it interesting. We're not picking Mason Cox in Supercoach.
No, we're not. But I don't know. He's an interesting character, and my God, I love his accent.
Yeah.
And just a lovely human being as well.
He was. Another lovely human being, Patch, was reigning best and fairest in a premiership year, Clayton Oliver, who actually took some time out to talk to us about Melbourne.
Yeah, exactly. It was really interesting and lovely for him to just take a few moments. Also another one that hasn't really jumped into fantasy football much or knows too much about the game, but he knows about football, and that's enough for us. So listen to what he had to say to us here. Yeah, how are you feeling heading into the year? Obviously coming off the premiership, how's it going on the track for you guys?
Yeah, boys are flying at the moment. Said before, there's a few PBs at the D, so boys as fit as they have ever been. Training pretty well. I think too many boys missed too many sessions, so coming here pretty good. Hopefully get a few defenders back in round one and prime for another big year. Beautiful.
Max Gawn, obviously one of the best players in the game and best players to watch. Luke Jackson, very young and exciting, up and coming. How do they split the ruck this year? Because they're both so good in there. How much of a split do you reckon they'll be, and which way will it go?
Honestly, no idea. I'll play mid, so it's not my position. Whoever's in there though, they're both unbelievable. Gawny, probably one of the best players in the league, if not the best. And then Dogger's probably one of the up and coming stars. So I don't know what the go is there. It's what has been happening, I guess. Whatever works in the granny, is probably stick to.
Have you got any young? You guys play a lot of young players, despite winning the flag last year. Is there any young guy that's taken the next step this off-season, you think?
Yeah, Tommy Sparrow and Jimmy Jordan. There's two basically sort of like me and Track. There's two young fellas, best mates. They're 21 now, 22. They've been flying on the track this year. Couldn't really do too much more, fit as they can be. And Tommy Sparrow's been dominating. He's probably a bit more midfield time this year, and he'll be a good player.
I've got one quick selfish question for you. I'm a Blues supporter. we obviously won our premiership last week against you guys. Our premiership for the year. Yeah. Was there any surprises for you, like from an opposition? Anyone that stood out to you? That
Everyone talked about Matt Kennedy, how good he played, but he was my draft, and I've always a great player. He was a GWS when he was kick 7. It was pretty high. I thought he'd been a gun the whole time. He's had a few injuries here and there and a few setbacks, so he's sort of come to Carlton and sort of looks fit as he ever have. And he played really well the night. The whole midfield, Carlton, they torched us. We still got Walsh come back, so pretty handy.
Just for the record, all Carlton supporters have been waiting for them to actually play Kennedy because he's a gun. But anyway.
Yeah, I reckon he's a gun too. Yeah, so I've always, very good player.
Thanks, mate. Really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Thanks, mate. Nice to meet you. So no clearer on the rucks.
No,
the ruck split.
It was an interesting answer of I don't play in the ruck, despite him spending a lot of time at their feet.
Who's hitting him the ball? Who's hitting him the ball?
But anyway, I get that they're trying to play their cards a little bit closer to their chest, and we're no closer to that answer, which I would have loved out of him. But
he did note a couple of. Obviously he spoke to the media earlier, said Christian Petrarca is the best player. He thinks he's the best player in the league, but he noted 2 names: Tom Sparrow and James Jordan, as the 2 guys to watch out for as the next Melbourne duo or the next developing players.
Well, he did compare them to himself and Christian Petrarca as well, in that they're roommates or housemates. They're great friends. They're playing similar positions, and that's a really interesting highlight there. Perhaps not for Classic this year, but if you're hunting around in drafts, that's about as big as an endorsement as you could get.
Yeah, and Sparrow's a particularly interesting one. Obviously, Jordan last year was a really good cash cow for us in the midfield, but Sparrow, for those looking for maybe a sneaky little late round draft pick, as you said in draft, he's forward mid eligible, and at 262k, he might even become fantasy salary relevant.
Geez. I mean, that's how bleak it is.
Yeah,
we're considering that price point, but. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to watch them. I feel like that'd be a corrective as opposed to a starting selection, but certainly one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, but who knows how much we can trust Clayton Oliver, because he did say that he didn't think he'd be a very good scorer in Supercoach.
That's true.
And he's a very good scorer in Supercoach.
He's all right. He's all right, there are worse scorers in Supercoach.
Yes.
But we did also chat to the very best scorer in Supercoach for the whole of last year as well.
We did. Em Challis, the number 1 Supercoach mama, the winner last year.
The winner last year, who was in her tracksuit, her Swans tracksuit.
As everyone kept saying.
Everyone kept saying, "Oh, you're a Swan supporter," and she got, understandably, quite distressed by people saying that in the red and white KFC tracksuit.
But geez, she did well to wear it all day in the heat, and
she did.
She's a lot of fun.
She's great. She's great. Big fan. So we had a chat to her and, kind of picked her brains for about 5 minutes about what she was thinking, and here you go. 2022 Supercoach, how are we feeling coming off the premiership hangover? Are you expecting to bounce back, or
back to back? No, I'm just really, really happy that I won, to be honest, because last year was just amazing and maybe a bit of a fluke, but no, I'm just going with it and just make sure I enjoy it this year, because it got a bit stressful. Obviously, I didn't really enjoy the last month for obvious reasons, which
it's only $50,000 in a tracksuit on the line. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it was the last round. I actually didn't get any sleep the Saturday night. Anyway, but I'm hoping to enjoy it and have fun and encourage people to play and women to play and just be out in the community still, and Supercoach still. I love it still.
Yeah, and on that, it's obviously always has been kind of a male-dominated field. Is it nice because we got to meet Liz today, who finished 70th in the highest-ranked women in 2020. Has it been nice to kind of have there been a few that have come out the woodwork since you've won?
Yeah, no, there's been heaps that have been really supportive and really like, I want to do what you do, and even people who don't play, like, I should do Supercoach, and so no, it's great, but it's never been my intention was to be,
You just wanted to win 50k. That's what you wanted.
I just wanted to play Supercoach. Like, who literally says I'm going to win 50k? Who literally, like, yes, it's a dream.
I've said it many, many times, actually. It hasn't happened yet. Not quite. I'm about 50,000 off winning 50,000. It's very crazy, but but I'm definitely, I'll take it as a woman, as a mum, if they encourages people to do, because it's a fun game and frustrating as all hell sometimes, but no, it's fun. It's good. Now, your other love, other than winning Supercoach, is the Geelong Cats. How many are in the team for 2022?
Currently, one. Not many Cats. I've had Tom Stewart. He's in and out of my team. He's not playing tonight because of he has a baby on the way. But he's been in and out of my team, and he's not out of it because, he's not there at the moment because there's no rookies, and I need money desperately for these expensive rookies. So, and I've got DeConing on my bench at the moment, but he could play crap and we could see him for 11 minutes tonight and then he'll be out. So, not many Cats this year.
Do we see a revitalisation of that midfield? It's obviously got some age behind it, dare I say it, with the Cats. But do they get your Cooper Stevens and what's the other one they've got? Mark O'Connor, Mitch Nevitt. Do we get some youth and some rookies through that midfield? If not round one, so. Sort of through the year.
Yeah, I really hope so, because we drafted mid, like Geelong. It was a really midfield draft anyway, but Geelong just drafted midfielders, and I think they are realising that we do have a gap, because Joel Selwood, look, he's only probably got a year or two, but hopefully like someone like Parfitt, who was in my Jock Reynolds, it was a hard article to write, because literally, like must have. I literally felt like saying no one is a must have. Move on. Do not select any Geelong players unless no one really does a lot of value and they're injured. So like just ignore this Geelong section, and I'm like, rookies, yes. Yeah. But Parfitt was my breakout. But if he gets if he gets his body right, and then if you've got Duncan pushing in the midfield, like forward midfield, Menegola, if Dangerfield actually plays 18 games in a row, that would be amazing. So I still think, but hopefully we get some more of that younger guys.
The name I was thinking of, by the way, wasn't Mark O'Connor, it was Max Holmes, who
yes,
you did
Max
mention.
Holmes. Yes, I did.
You did mention someone you like, who I think is a very interesting player.
Oh, he is, and I'm really hoping for job security. Max Holmes is definitely someone I like, and of course we cannot not mention Brad Close, who's favourite.
The long sleeves.
The long sleeves, yes.
A man after our own heart.
Yes, and I was just saying to Marcus, he's a Geelong supporter as well, and he's not underrated in Geelong. He is rated. Brad Close is rated. We love him. So, yeah.
Beautiful. And then just very quickly, leaving Geelong, who else are you looking at and interested by this pre-season?
Other than Geelong?
Outside of Geelong.
Outside Geelong.
There are 17 other teams, allegedly. I keep hearing about them. Have you got any players from them you're excited by?
Butters. I've been rubbed off. JB from support supporter. I'm really on the Butters train. I do think Dunkley has shown that he's going to go back to his older role and that you cannot select him. I'm really, really struggling with midfielders, but still McRae are locks, Neal's are locks. I'm on the Took train now.
On the Took train? Oh, I love it.
I'm on the Took train. Don't tell Oliver. I literally had Oliver in my team just in case I saw him, just in case he asked me about my Supercoach team, which he wouldn't. But now I've got to get him out and put Took back in. But
why Took over Clay?
I just feel like Took has, I don't know, he has a lot more upside. I do plan to get Oliver, but because Took actually had a little role change, a bit of like Jack Steele like in round 6, less lockdown midfield, more pure midfield where he was allowed to let go. He scored 16 consecutive tons from round 6. So
Tons in a row.
he's actually value, believe it or not.
Heard it here first. Heard it here first. Rightio. Anything else?
Thank you, Em. Thank you for
problem.
joining us.
Thank you. Best of luck for
Thank
2022, and don't forget us when you go back to back.
So, Patch, amazing story, and I'm so glad that she won. But in terms of Supercoach for this year, I'm still not sold on any Cats.
No.
I do think Max Holmes is a name to watch, but he's not going to be salary relevant at his awkward price and with so many question marks. But I think there's something about him that I quite like.
Yeah, when they drafted him, it felt like they jumped on him a bit early, and I was kind of athletics background. Is it a situation where they've drafted a kid and drafted an athlete trying to turn them into a footballer, or as opposed to drafting a footballer and making them fitter and stronger or whatever it is? But the Cats have got the runs on the board on that front, and that they've done it with Blissarves, and it looks like they're doing it with Holmes as well. So he's one to watch in the future. Interesting. She's still humming and ahhing on Tom Stewart as well, who we've both kind of put a line through just from the flat no exceptions rule of if they haven't had a full preseason, I'm not interested.
Yeah, and he's too expensive for me.
Well, also that.
I think he's got room to fall, but I don't imagine Em will end up picking him. It's hard to pick someone who you haven't seen in a proper preseason match. Forget the preseason niggles and all that sort of stuff. If you don't see him play beforehand, it's really hard to pick him.
It is, yeah. It is. But she's very good to chat to. I'm very interested to see, what she comes up with in terms of her side, but it sounds like she's as up in the air as the rest of us are.
Yeah. Well, let's just hope by the time people have heard this, Geelong will have played. I hope Sam DeConning kicked 10 goals. Or I don't even know what position he plays.
Full back, that'd be a hell of an effort from him. But yeah, I'm intrigued by how that goes. But obviously, people listening will know that because it's the future.
It's the future.
It's the future. But yeah, that was our day basically, just wandering around and being treated to some croissants and listening to a lot of very entertaining people talk about football.
Yeah, no, it was lovely. It was awesome to spend some time with you.
Also that.
Worth noting, if you're listening to this at release in a couple of days, there will be an article in the Herald Sun, the latest pre-season whispers. Damo and myself are doing that one, so that'll be up for your perusal. I think that'll be behind a paywall, so if you can... I think you get access if you sign up for a free trial to Code Sports.
I believe that's how it's working. And also that means you get access to Code, who are doing pretty snazzy stuff,
There's
honestly.
some snazzy things on there.
Really interesting features.
But now it sounds like we're shilling for them. We don't get anything
No,
out
we
of
don't get
this.
any of this. I just like them. They're cool.
Yeah, it is a service we actually use, which is, I know everyone says when they are shilling, but we're not.
We're not shilling. God, please, Code, hello. Give us
we
money.
We will shill.
If you think this is shilling, wait until you hear us actually getting paid for something.
And then there'll be more written content. Team reveals are going to start to drop on the Jock Reynolds website.
I can't do a team reveal. I don't have a team.
No, that's why we put ourselves last in the order.
I think Damo's put me to the front this year.
Oh,
Damo's in charge, so
Well, keep an eye on jockreynolds.com.au. There's plenty of stuff happening there, Patch. Thank you for joining me.
No worries. A pleasure to see you in person, and no doubt we will converse for another pod before the season begins as a final panic pod.
Oh, yeah, we'll be panicking.
So, yeah, stay tuned for that, and, keep popping over to the old website Areno, or find us on Twitter, which is where I feel like I live these days sometimes.
All right. Go Blues.
Go Dons.